Well, what's happening? Your chick. Wait, no, I'm not doing that again. That's too much energy. Oh my.
My eardrums.
By fire, by force.
Disinterest in you, not even interest, like disinterest.
Yeah.
I think it's a legacy thing. Like, before, even if a woman said no, it didn't really matter, even if she protested. Like, as you said, they were, like, treated as, like, pieces of meat, like, property, so it doesn't really, like... So as a man, back then, it's like, why am I going to say no? And I feel like that mindset has, like, carried on, if you will. I feel.
Amongst what demographic, though? But maybe... I think that's true for the older generation, but I believe for our generation, it's just miseducated in terms of how to pull and everything like that. Because one guy will say, "Oh yeah, I kept pressing and she gave in, and now look at us."
That's
right?
true. Yeah, there's this whole thing of like you keep like going and you keep saying stuff, and then she'll give in. But if she has to give in to you, that's already an issue. Like. If I'm into someone, they know it, and they know that I want to do stuff with them. They know that I'm interested, and that is pretty much the same for most women. Like, I haven't really come across that many women who are actually that timid that if they really like someone, they're not going to express it to them. So I think it is interesting to think about where
that's you as a woman, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the ones trying. So we're going to meet them. Do you know what I mean? We're going to meet the ones who are really forward, and the ones who, to us, it may seem like they can't really decide for themselves. So for a lot of guys, I think if they meet someone like that, they're gonna think, okay, let me decide for you, basically, and they'll take the piss a bit.
Yeah. What I would say is, I do think it's hard for men in the respect that we've, even throughout time, we've developed this culture of men obviously approaching women more so than the other way round. And I think that has developed a slight grey area in terms of knowing when she's actually interested or when you're just making a move to a girl at a bar, in a club, or anything of the sort. Like, I think as a guy it would be quite difficult, and because if I imagine the head in my scenario, right, there's a girl at some bar, you want to go chat to her, maybe your mates are with her as well. If you go talk to her and then get shut down, perhaps you might be quite embarrassed as a guy in front of your mates and stuff, so you might just persist in that situation and try to like keep her speaking to you, even if she's visibly not interested. Like, I don't know, how would you react in that situation?
You just got to take it on the chin. You just got to be like, all right, I'm not buying you a drink then. And just get on with your night, innit?
Yeah.
Just pretend that it didn't happen.
Yeah. What about you, Jason?
Me? Yeah, like 100% what Dom said. But I was just like laughing because this friend of mine, she was like talking to me about like how in like bars and clubs, like guys would like approach her and like they'd be like, let me buy you a drink or whatever, and then she'd be like, yeah, whatever. She'd just like entertain it for the free drink, and then when it's like, do you want to come back to mine, she just like disappear. So I was just like, what you were saying reminded me of that. I was just laughing at that, you know?
Some girls are quite savage with that. Like, they will. I have friends and stuff who will literally go out on a night and their aim is to get as many free drinks as possible. I personally can't do that because I hate... Okay, first things first.
Because you have a heart in here.
Yeah, it's so savage. Like, if someone's genuinely being a nice person and they just wanted to buy me a drink and get to know me and stuff, I feel really bad if I just then vanish into thin air as soon as I've like downed my vodka Red Bull. But at the same time, buying someone a drink still doesn't give you entitlement to their body, essentially. I think that's the thing that certain people are missing. Because even if
what
you
we meant by access to women?
Yeah, I guess we can define what we mean by that. It's entitlement to women. So, I guess in that strain, you could have obviously actual access to their body, but it's not just that. It's also catcalling and stuff, which is a whole other thing. Because has anyone actually ever gained anything from catcalling?
I've seen people do it, and it's just been like kind of weird, because I'll be like walking like on my way to university or whatever, and then there'll be like some guys just chilling on the side, just like enjoying themselves, and they'll be like, she looks nice, like wolf whistle or whatever. And then it's just like kind of awkward, like, because we're all like okay, because the wolf whistle just goes and nothing really comes of it.
That's what I mean, like, no one has ever, like, when people roll down their windows and shout stuff at you, do they seriously think I'm gonna like turn around, make them stop the car, and then we're gonna like have sex or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how it works, and that's not even, they don't even slow down to hear my response. So like, what really is the purpose of wolf whistling and catcalling?
I think some guys might see as like them paying women a compliment, like you look fit, I'm gonna like shout it at you or whatever.
Yeah.
Some guys might see it like that.
Yeah. I actually read a really interesting thing the other day that was about catcalling and stuff, and it actually said it was to do with like male pride and stuff. So generally speaking, the men that catcall tend to actually be quite insecure. So you'll have people catcalling you, wolf whistling at you, who obviously you probably never would get with or something, and they know that in their minds, but because they know that, it's like almost internalized, and they want you to make you feel, as a woman, make you feel small and make you feel intimidated, because they know as soon as they shout that at you, how am I supposed to react? Like, what am I supposed to do? Now I'm just feeling like awkward in the street, and you've made me feel that way. So someone was basically saying it's like internalized insecurity. I don't know what you guys think.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's rugby lad culture. But I think, yeah, it's just as Meg said.
Yeah.
And it's really unnecessary at the same time. But going back to what you said about there being a grey area, I think that's why proper education by women and men to young men is a better way to go than just harsher punishments for the little things. You know, of course you should stop the little things from getting out of hand and becoming big things, but I do think it's about education, because these grey areas are created when a bad behaviour doesn't produce an immediate bad effect. It's like if you're playing football inside the house, if you kick it and it bounces off everything, nothing falls over and smashes, you think, oh, I can get away with this. You know what I mean? But if every time something's smashed, it would be clear cut for everyone. Probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. So how do you think we should educate people on that subject?
I think just scare the shit out of them. I mean, it's already happening now where guys who are aware, they're becoming far more cautious. And if they hear the word no, they know it's a no.
Do you know what that is? That's actually very true.
Wait, no.
Malicious, aka whatever your auntie calls me. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay, now it's straight back into it.
Alright. Picking up where we left off.
Yeah.
What were we saying?
Why are you just sorry?
Oh!
Stop
right?
We were talking about how now men have become more cautious of when a woman says no, and in my personal experience I have seen that to be the case. Like when I was younger and everything, or even, do you know what, even it's more so since, do you remember the Me Too movement? I think it was since that there has become a heightened awareness of what means yes and what means no and what's consent and all of this. And from my personal experience as a woman, I have seen more men just trying to take that initiative to really understand if I'm consenting and saying yes, which is nice to see, but it's still not all of them, and you still have all the other shit that's going on. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You said worse. Shit.
Yeah. What about you? Like, do you consciously check to see if you know what? Alright, okay, as a guy or as guys, if you move to a girl and you get back to her house and everything, how do you personally check whether she is actually consenting to it or not?
Ask.
You ask?
Yeah.
Just straight up?
Yeah, you got to detect the mood at first, then you ask. You know what I'm saying? But if the vibe ain't right, then I'm saying,
How do you know the vibe isn't right?
you just know. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she, I don't know. You just
Sitting
know.
on the corner of the bed.
Yeah, like if the energy's, yeah, but energy, the body language.
Body language, yeah.
She ain't laughing at the joke. Like,
If
you know
she's
what I'm
closed off to you,
saying? She's closed off to you, then yeah, it's not happening. Just
Yeah.
take it off.
The not laughing at the jokes is also an important one, I think. If a woman's not interested, she's like...
Yeah, she'll brush them jokes off.
if she's interested, she'll be cracking up.
Yeah. I mean, all those things like play a part, you know.
Yeah, 100%. What about you, Bins?
it's pretty much the same thing. Like, okay, I'm speaking for myself. I'm somewhat a funny guy, innit? So if she's not laughing, yeah, chances are she's not into me. Do you know what I mean? Like there are signs, like you can tell she'll.
Are you a funny person?
Damn, son.
Wow.
Bold claims.
Damn, son.
Wow.
I'm asking.
I like to think I am at times.
Right.
Yeah, he's a joker. He's a joker. He said he'll be here before us naturally. That's funny. That is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
And I was here before you. You can't.
I was here before you though.
You got here at 6:15. What were you doing? What the fuck were you doing? I don't know why the hell you got here so
I
early.
was still here before
You
you.
know.
6:15.
That's really
I walked here. I didn't think
early,
I didn't think the walk here would be that quick.
Did you not do a city mapper?
He just left the yard.
Wow.
Who does that? That's so reckless. You just go around the house and walk.
I knew where I was going.
Okay. Fair play.
No, but yeah, it's literally just check for signs. If the mood ain't right, you'll be able to tell. Like,
Oh my god, this is one right. Okay. When you move to a girl and she tells you she has a boyfriend, why do men still persist after that? Because that is the clearest symbol that I'm not interested. Like literally.
Scum of the earth, man.
Like, what? When you can't have friends now? Brother, move, man.
The amount of times I've heard that, is he here? Like, oh my
Just
god.
walk away like it's done.
why you don't allow you to have friends?
Oh my days.
Oh, but then again, we're going back to the grey area. Because there are those who will bring that up and stuff still happens.
What do you mean?
Like without pressuring them, they will mention that they have a boyfriend, but you can clearly see on their face it's like they're trying to save themselves. Do you see what I mean? It's
What
like
do you mean?
it's like they're saying it to you, but really they're reminding themselves because they know what they want to do, but
Like,
they don't want to do it at the same
They
time.
might put out suggestive body language, or like it might say on their face that
Yeah.
they don't
There's-
want to do it, but
They're
they do want to do it at
saying,
the same
look,
time.
I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then there's like, I have a boyfriend.
Wait, but
Do you know what
why
I mean?
why are all of you so good at reading body language and emotions now? I swear when you're in a relationship, you pick up on nothing. But when you're talking about I have a boyfriend in a club, it's like, oh, she was moving like this and she gave me these eyes. Shut up.
You have to be perceptive because if you're not, shit could go bad.
Is that from experience? I'm sorry, that's the only joke I'll make in that area. That's the only one.
You don't need no shots. But yeah, continue what you're saying.
Yeah, something like that. No, but it's true. It's true. Like I said, if you do something bad and it doesn't always turn out wrong, then you're gonna think it's alright. So like I said, if you put some girls and they mention they have a boyfriend, and you go back to hers the same night, then you'll figure out some girls are just gonna say that, innit? It doesn't really matter. Right? Is that just me? Why is it?
No, wait, what?
What I'm trying to say is they will say they have a boyfriend, but it's quite fickle. They're just trying to not give in to the.
They're not trying to look as
And
bad.
sometimes they do.
Should you
Oh.
help them give in to those temptations?
I think it depends on whether or not you're a good person or not. Or how
Yeah,
horny you
what?
are.
Yeah, some man, he's right though. He's right though. Some man love the chase, bro.
Okay, helping her to give in, that's just depending on how horny you are. But forcing her to give in, that's when you cross the line. But in terms of helping, like I said, if it's her decision at the end of the day, I think she's made up her decision
Alright.
way before.
Question for everyone. What is the difference then between helping and forcing? Like what's like a nudge and like a push in that
Helping
direction?
is like, it's suggested, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't have to do it, but I'd like for you to do it, do you know what I mean? It's not, it's a choice. Forcing, no, like, how can I put it? Yeah, it's literally a choice, you know what I'm saying? It's like, cool, they wanna pursue it with you, but it's like, if they say no, that's it, do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't go further.
Yeah.
If it's a push, literally, they're pushing you, they're trying to force you to do something that they don't want to do, regardless.
Yeah, helping, I think, is if you ask once and they're still showing that body language, all this stuff that you were saying. Forcing it is if you keep going at it. Because it's so annoying, like, once you've said it once, like, I have a boyfriend, and they keep just going with it. Like, for me, it should be like, I say that to you, and you understand that I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But that it does not happen. Ever.
Oh, there's still. It's because of that grey area. That's the major problem. We can't. We have to keep going back to it until everything is clear cut, black and white. I don't think anything's gonna get to the point where it needs to be, where women are gonna feel safe.
I don't think we ever will, though. Like, I've spoken about this before. I'm so pessimistic about it because we were chatting about this earlier. Sexual harassment and rape and everything of women has existed throughout history, and it's actually never got better. Like, that's one thing that's remained constant throughout time. So I'm not confident that it's going to change in any way. And I also think that that's because of these grey areas, because we are sexual beings in general, right? We're always going to want to move to each other. Men are going to want to move to women, and there's always going to be something that gets crossed. Like, why is it going to get crossed? It's not always going to be 100% clear what's what. Because also guys are drunk as well, and yes, that doesn't perhaps justify it, but it can sometimes mean that you do things that you should not have done. You persisted more than you should have. Or you tried to persuade because you were thinking of yourself, you were really horny or whatever, and you just kept asking, and then she gave in. It's like, it's like a whole grey area.
So yeah, like, to link that back to, like, the second bullet point, so there's no, like, real place to move on from. There's no, like, moving forward from this. This is just how things are.
I think, yeah, to be honest, like, the whole reason I came on this was because Bim's watched my video, and I was just saying, like, for women, it is so ridiculously normalised for this to happen to us. Like, one thing I spoke about in length was obviously that for when people talk about sexual abuse and sexual assault and stuff, because of the way it's portrayed in, like, films, series, all of that, you expect a woman after she's been raped or something to be this damaged shell of a woman. But the reality of it is, all of you know women in your life who've been severely raped, but they just don't talk about it. We're not damaged individuals from it. We just have to keep it moving, and that's exactly the way it is. Like, if you actually ask some of your female friends and they want to share, what you'll realise is lots of them have very serious examples of when they've been sexually assaulted, but because of the situation and the way it is, we just have to keep it moving. As in, there's no point in dwelling on it, because it's probably going to happen again.
That's sad, man. That's fucked.
Well, how comes is it that, like, you don't tell, like, your male friends? Like, I feel like it's understandable why, but why don't you, like, tell your male friends who have a bit more restraint and decency?
But okay, so partly because it can be a bit awkward. I think especially because guys aren't really used to hearing about stuff like that. So, for example, if I speak to my female friends, it's not even surprising sometimes with what they hear that I'm telling them about. But with men, if I ever mention anything that's remotely to do with sexual harassment, they're so taken back by it, and they think it's sort of rare for that to happen, but in reality it's not. And on the other hand, it's also because of that same normalisation thing, because I personally am very pessimistic about it. I don't see it getting any better, and I also see it happening to me again. So I just sort of don't know what telling men about it could do until, like I said, until recently. Like, I've realised how much it helps for men to hear about actual real experiences of someone in your close proximity, and to realise how regularly it does happen. So I think I do want to try to speak more to men about it.
Because that's the thing, when a lot of guys hear it, it's like, they think of it as like, I don't know, it's just, should I say this? It's like a lot of guys, when they see the whole being forcing a woman to, like, engage in these acts, it's like, a lot of these people think of it as porn, do you know what I mean? Like, something that's not realistic. And it's just mad, because I don't know how to phrase it, but it's just, how can I put it?
They see, like, sexual assault as, like, some sort of fantasy.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's why I feel like with some of these guys, they see it as a fantasy, and they see it as them wanting it, but in really and truly, they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many situations that I could recount where it's just so obvious.
Wait, no, I'm not doing that. That's too much energy. Oh my god.
What age of
As if nothing happened, because it was kind of just like, what the fuck just happened?
She didn't even, like, believe it happened to begin with.
Exactly, yeah. You do that. Oh my god, that's a whole other thing as well. Like, not understanding when you've been sexually assaulted to start with.
I've heard some people don't realise until, like, years later.
Yeah.
So it can happen to them, and then years later they'll just click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so annoying to address it on a criminal level as well, because right, we all know like only 6% of rape cases actually get convicted, and lots of the time it's so hard to like get the evidence, and usually it's like their word against yours and stuff like that, or if you're in a blackout drunk state, you don't have that, you don't have any identification on them, you don't have anything, and unless you've been to the hospital within 48 hours, it's done. There's nothing they can do about it.
So like the like germs or whatever they leave on you, it like lasts on your body for like 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like any sort of DNA samples will be gone within 48 hours.
Okay.
So that's it's really difficult as well, especially if you're trying to process what's happened to you. Because like when it happened to me, right, it took me a few days now, and then as soon as I realised, I literally had like a physical body reaction. I literally just threw up. It was horrible. And by that point, I did go to the police and stuff, and it was just, she literally said, I don't know what you expect me to do about it. And I was like, I literally said, fair enough, like, I don't know what I was expecting you to do, to be honest. It's hard, though.
So do you not see, like, any, like, legislation that could, like, help with this at all?
Not in the system we exist within, to be honest, because it seems, okay, even this is on our bullet points as well, but you know the curfew, that's been imposed on women. So women, you don't go out after, 9 p.m. or something. It's like, we're not the ones who are the threat here. It's the men are, and something has happened to a woman, yet we're the ones who should be locked away. It's the exact same as it's the exact same as the advice that was given to women when Jack the Ripper was about, stay inside, don't go out after this time. But the man is the perpetrator, and yet we're the ones being told to lock ourselves away.
I thought the curfew bill was aimed towards men that they shouldn't go out after 6.
Yeah, same.
Was it? I swear from women's reactions and everything, they said women don't go out.
No, I'm pretty sure it was men. Like, I remember watching it.
But then also that's why the vigil happened as well. That was like a retaliation against being told to stay indoors. So it'd be a bit weird if we retaliated because men were told to stay indoors.
I think it's because the police are limited. They know they can't be everywhere to stop it from happening, and when it does happen, they are going to fail you.
Did you guys see how like they're introducing this scheme of having like plainclothes officers in like bars and clubs?
Yeah.
Do you think that will help at all?
No.
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know.
I've spotted 1,000,001 rapey guys in the club.
Yeah, rapey, man.
That's just by chance.
Bro.
That's you. Oh look, he's. But at the same
time, it also gives them powers to like, to actually do some of these bullshit and then get away with it.
Wait, but when you spot these guys, do you actually say anything?
You gotta start
I
G-checking your
did
boys.
the one time, like, we went out for my birthday, and, like, my friend, she was, like, gone. I didn't even realise she was gone, but my female friends realised she was gone. And they saw, like, the guys, like, hovering around her, and I was like... And it just clicked for me now, like, shit. If we left her, like that, and we, like, went to have good times for me, like, something really messed up could have happened to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that just, like, clicked for me.
Mm-hmm. What about the rest of you?
Carnival.
Oh my god.
Carnival. That bro. See that place there? That place is a bit scary. There's I don't know. Some man just leave the house without no home training.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they just think they can just do whatever. There was, I think, me and my friends, we went. There was it was a big group of us. I think one of the girls got blackout drunk. And man was just like coming up to her, trying to pull her for a dance or whatnot. This girl, like, she physically couldn't walk or nothing. So it was like, we couldn't like leave her. If we left her, God knows, bro, she would have disappeared. It was that scary. So we had to wait until the ambulance came for her because she was like too out of it. It was just mad, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like with partying and things like that, you got to start. It starts with the friendship group.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Some man are going out in friendship groups. They see what their friends are doing, and they're not doing nothing. There's nothing wrong with G-checking your boys. Like, you're chill. Like, you're moving too, man. Like, this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you
Have
should
some
be,
decorum, like, please.
maybe you shouldn't be held responsible if you're a stranger, because, okay, if you're a stranger and you see someone getting robbed and you don't know him, are you going to think, oh, that shouldn't be happening to them, they don't deserve it? Are you going to go and get involved? No, you don't know what's going to happen to yourself. In the same way, if you see someone misbehaving in the club, you're going to think, oh, well, how can this turn out for me? Do you know what I mean? Unless they're people you know, and you're like, okay, their life for mine, then obviously you would do something. But I don't think you can put the responsibility on people who are strangers. But yeah, if these are your friends or people within your circle who you think you can control them safely, then obviously you should.
I think what you said about comparing it to robbery, like I get it on the robbery front, because obviously someone could literally whip out a knife, whip out a gun or something, and then you're in immediate danger of your life. But the thing with like men going to women and stuff, sometimes legit all it takes is some man stepping in and being like, "Are you guys okay here?" Because if they see that she's got a male friend, doesn't matter how big, small you are, whatever, if they see she's got a male friend, that immediately deters them, because that's it. Because if they continue trying to move to her right in front of you, and you can see what they're doing and the woman is clearly uncomfortable, it's all just going to get shut down because you're with her.
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
But in my experience, guy turns up to you, his lips are almost touching your face, you can smell all the alcohol, and he's like, oh, you fucking what is going to be a problem? And it becomes one of those.
That's the thing, when alcohol comes into the mix here, they're not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Because he might think you're trying to move to her as well,
Yeah.
I guess, and then it's like this whole fucking alpha male thing. Which I guess, yeah, that would be really hard to deal with.
That's the thing, your friends are a reflection of yourselves. So like Camus said, you've got to pattern up your friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, this whole, I don't get it, it's like when like guys move to girls in a club and they just start touching them up. Like they'll just go up to them, start touching them up, and they don't even know what's going on. And it's like, and certain friends will be like, "Yeah, geez, go on, come on, do your thing," and you're just like, "Hold on."
Yeah.
It should make you think like, "What's going on? That's not right." Like, she don't even know who you are. She hasn't even seen your face.
Yeah.
Like, at the very least, talk to her.
Yeah. The maddest thing as well is like, from my perspective as a woman, I do not know a single female friend that hasn't been sexually assaulted. But also, I don't know any male friends who know any friends who've sexually assaulted someone. So something's not adding up here. I don't know a single female. 97% of women have said they've been sexually harassed or assaulted, but none of my male friends or no males around me have ever said they know a guy friend who does that kind of thing. So I think like what you guys said is so important. Like you need to check people more.
It's also because I've seen some guys that genuinely they see it as a game kind of thing. It's been like, so let's say from secondary school now, it starts kind of early. So it will be like who's done the most with this, and it becomes like a game, and it just builds up, and like things just, I don't know, things just they don't see women as like people anymore. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they talk about it as like objects. If you really compare the way guys and girls talk about having sex with each other, with guys it's usually like, oh, I fucked this girl, I beat this girl, this, that and the other. When women talk about sex together, it's like, oh, I had sex with this guy.
That is so true. I've noticed that with my friends.
Bro,
as well.
some man like they genuinely don't see women as like human beings. The way they talk, so it's like when they're in the club and they're moving reckless, it's like they don't see what they're doing because they think it's a game type of thing. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's fucked.
How do we get them out of that mindset?
Like,
I think that's the most dangerous mindset.
Yeah, they have to hear it from Mandem as well.
Yeah, they have to hear it from their people.
They have to hear it from Mandem as well.
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, 97% of women said they've been sexually assaulted, right? So from the guy's point of view, that doesn't automatically mean that every guy is covering for their friends. Obviously that does happen, but what I think happens most of the time is they do not realise it is inappropriate.
But that's the thing, if the guy doesn't see
That's
women
education.
if the guy doesn't see the women as women, he's going to be even less likely to listen to them.
It's not even that. It's like, it's another grey area. It's like when you have these different drinking cultures, think of dance hall culture.
Yeah.
Immediately, you're going up to people you don't know and grabbing them. And if they don't like you, you move off.
Yeah. Even with Carney as well, it's that same thing. It's a different like culture of just moving. And it's not, to be honest, like even with Carney and dancehall, like you're not actually necessarily moving someone. It's dance culture, right?
Yeah.
It's dancing someone, whining on someone, and then usually it's done. You'll move on to the next person to whine on. That's it. And that's, yeah, I think there's definitely grey areas within all those sorts of things, which makes it really difficult.
Yeah. So, you know, a mate, if you're seeing another guy whining with a girl, in a split second it could turn from a dance to sexual assault. So, really, how are they going to be able to know every time? How are they going to, wait, what is my guy doing? Do I need to stop this? Or are they going to just think, oh, it's just wine gone wrong or whatever?
That's precisely why I said it's not going to get better, because there's too many grey areas with it.
Right, let's like move away from like club culture and stuff, because that's like a rabbit hole. What about like more in line with like what happened to Sarah Everhart? How she was like walking home and a policeman just like grabbed her off the street.
Yeah.
Do you know how scary that is? That's fucked.
I know, right?
A man that's paid.
Can you imagine?
That's there to protect your peace.
Not even that, just like someone you don't know just takes you.
It's just a familiar. It's a very familiar
Until it
situation,
comes
right?
around,
We've
isn't
all walked to the bus. We've all had to walk home from a friend's at 9 p.m. I don't even consider 9 p.m. late. And if I was her, I wouldn't have walked the whole way, but I would have walked from the house probably to a bus or tube. But even within that tiny time frame, the same thing could have happened, and that's what women are thinking every single time you walk out of the house.
That is insane. That
Like
is
even
really
coming down here,
insane.
I literally stood at the bridge because for a while I was like, I don't want to walk on the canal by myself because it looks really booky.
No, yeah.
So then I waited until there was like a guy who looked really friendly, and I walked literally like right behind him. It's that type of thing.
Do you know how mad that is? You know that thought don't cross my mind.
Yeah, same with me.
It would only be like if it's like if I feel like there's there could be man them down the road like
Yeah.
that thought would never really cross my mind like that, you know.
Like I thought like that once or twice in it, but that's because like the ends that I lived in it, like back in the day, it was mad dangerous in it, like too much.
Lived. Past tense.
No. Living.
We're in the hills now, isn't it? It's safe.
No, there's that living in it. It's like back in the day, it was mad dangerous. So like shit was always going on, and like even these words would always give me PTSD. Hey, little man, what you saying? Fam, that word's always like give me PTSD. You know what I'm saying? So like whenever I'm like in areas that look mad, it's always like makes it always got to question yourself.
I think I'd be scared if I was a guy as well, though, to be honest, because that's another thing with men. I swear, other men will just start shit randomly with you
Oh yeah, 100%.
whenever.
Just because you're from somewhere else. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Just because
It
you
makes no sense.
None.
No sense.
You don't even own that postcode. Like you're just there.
I mean, men have things to fear. It's obviously disproportionate compared to women, but
100%.
if you do think of it from men and women's standpoint, these are things that they both expect will never change because of police, basically. It's crime that's out of control.
Same with racism. Like it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. You just think, so how are we going to be safe?
How you gonna be safe? The police can't protect.
Yeah. We can't educate the criminals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good putting this stuff on social media and all the guys who are already willing to change or don't need to change, they're listening and passing it on. But the people who are out to do what they want to do, they're not going to hear that.
That's the thing. I feel like people are already aware, but they're just choosing not to listen. That's the problem.
So the takeaway is people aren't going to change. That's the takeaway.
I think gradually over time it can, because obviously the more awareness is brought to a particular thing, the less it's going to happen in the future. Because if loads of men are sticking up for women, talking about, mate, you shouldn't say that, then less men are going to be moving mad in front of their friends and stuff.
Yeah.
It will still happen, but men will have to start doing it more cautiously because they know people are watching how they're moving. But that is something that would happen over a very extended period of time.
Like it's not going to be an our generation type thing.
Yeah.
So that's our goal for now, is just to get as close as we can to equality. Because we might not actually get there. So instead of, just losing faith and not trying, we should try and get as close as we can and surprise ourselves and actually have something to be proud of.
Yeah.
I like that better. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds more uplifting.
Yeah. That definitely is the way to view it, and I think that's the way to view like all kind of social justice movements. Like you see it with literally everything, right? With even like LGBTQ rights, with racism. This stuff takes environment. It takes a long time, but that doesn't mean we just give up and like lose our heads. It just means the good people keep doing what they're doing to promote that equality, to promote that change, and gradually over time it will have its effect, but we just might not see it.
But how do you stop this whole, for example, this whole momentum about sexual harassment that is built up? How do you stop it from not like becoming a trend? Like BLM, that's the trend. Like.
So why is it like? No, wait, go on.
So I was just gonna say, like, how do you stop that from just dying out and just? Yeah.
It's automatically a trend. As soon as more than one person is talking about it,
No, but
it gets a
that's the
retweet,
thing.
it's a trend.
No, but BLM at one point was a movement. Then it turned into a trend because it just died out.
What do you mean by trend?
It became a trend, bro.
No,
that taking
like-
the knee thing.
Do you think it just became like, when you say trend, like it just became like a hashtag trending?
As in it goes in and then comes back out.
Precisely. Like it literally just comes into the spotlight for like a brief amount of time. Then it goes. Then it just disappears. It's not something that stays.
That's because people are questioning the motivations behind BLM.
But also, do you not think more people now are talking about racial justice and black oppression and stuff than potentially ever before? Okay, we've seen spikes of it, right?
Yeah.
But since everything that happened over the summer, protests, killings, everything, which have always been going on, right? But now it has been put under a microscope. And from my experience, people are still talking about it. Like, I don't really go to that many gatherings or events or whatever now where it doesn't come up in conversation. And that didn't really happen before. It's always spoken about at places I go to now, which is really good. And that's how it carries on. Like, shit like this happens, it blows up, everyone's attention is drawn to it. And as long as people keep those small conversations going, it will continue to have the momentum.
Yeah. You're pushing the threshold higher and higher so that it never really disappears.
Yeah.
But do you
I think it's okay for it to be a trend if it keeps trending. Like she said, peaks. So it's like if you're a guy who makes a one-hit wonder and then you completely disappear, no one knows who your name is down the line. That's the type of trend you don't want when it's a social movement. But
you think sorry.
Yeah, but if it raises the threshold and then each time it happens you're getting more and more people involved, it will have a longer lasting effect.
You know what, that's a really fucking good analogy. Like an artist, they come out with one banger, they go away from it, another one, get more. It's good.
What's the so what's I gonna say? What's the chances that the violence will rise along with the awareness?
That the what?
That the violence will rise along with the awareness.
It's like a reaction.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
From who? Are you saying like there'll be more and more? There'll be cut that out, yeah, please. Can you yeah? Are you saying the protests will become more and more violent, or there will be a violent response to it?
No, yeah, there'll be a violent response.
So
to
like
this.
more and more cases of like Sarah Everhart, like that.
Potentially.
Was that a violent response?
No, but he's saying like a response to the trend.
As in more people will start like sexually harassing or raping more violently and stuff, or kidnapping as a result.
Nah.
That's the thing. I can see that happening. Cause
I think I think it won't happen because people with sexual assault and stuff, people are very sly with it. They're very slick with it. They really don't want to get caught out for that, and it's very easy for them not to get caught if they do it in the right way. If you like kidnap a woman, murder her, rape her, all this shit, you're going to get found out.
But
But
like
if you just keep doing the little slick things,
that's the thing. It doesn't. I'm not saying it has to be blatant. Like you do the most fucked up thing, and then suddenly it becomes page one Daily Mail. But like you said, the cases of the slyness, like the sly cases, they just keep building up and up.
I heard a quote. They were
I
saying
can see that.
something along the lines of, "The devil's so smart he convinced people he doesn't exist." So in the same way, the type of sexual abuse that happens that we can never really get rid of is examples where women don't understand what happened to them. So it's not a problem. I mean, they don't see it as a problem, and then nothing will change. So I think men who rely on certain cultures or drugs to have their way with women and leave them not knowing how they feel about a situation, those are the ones that we have to get to and kind of figure out how do we stop them.
That's too much energy. Oh my god.
My eardrums.
By fire, by force!